Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha. Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Kalaye Sundarakaram Sadaika Priyadarshanam. Ajnana Nashakam Devam Sadgurum Muralidharam. Yasya Smarana Matrena Jikhvayam Vardate Swayam. Mahamantra Stambhajami Muralidhara Deshikam. Premamritam yo Murali Ninadehi Shri Krishna Rupena Puravarsha Adyapi Soyam Muralidharakyo Pushnati Premna Bhuvanam Saharsham Sankirtite Mahamantre Tatra Virbhuya Tatshanam Suprasanno Bhavedyastam Premika Varadam Bhaje Murali Mandita Karakamalam Munijana Mohanam Yatyasta Padam Vanamala Darinam Prema Bhakta Mandala Nitya Kirtitam Premika Varadam Ashrayeham Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam Pranamo Dukkha Shamanaha Tam Namami Harim Param Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Sadguru Nath Maharaj ki Jai. Greetings friends. Namaste. It's a pleasure to join you all again in yet another session of Answers and Beyond. It is indeed the grace of Bhagwan and Guru Maharaj that has blessed us with this wonderful opportunity. Thank you for taking the time and effort to join in. The question that we will take up for discussion today is one that was sent by a friend from Satsang. This is how it goes. In our homes, traditionally, it's been a practice to have a designated room or space dedicated to worship of God. Likewise, we have places that thousands of people visit called as holy places. It is said that such places are filled with spiritual vibes, sanidhyam. Is it really true? Can you explain? Or has all of this been told to keep a sense of discipline and motivation? Lovely question. The crux of the question is this: can spiritual vibes really be associated with a particular place? If we think about it, such a question would certainly come to every one of us, isn't it? Because when we say on one hand that God, that divinity or grace is omnipresent, there's not a single place where it does not exist. It's everywhere, all around, inside and outside. Does it make sense to point to a particular place and say that it is present maximally in that area, or to have a designated place where we live, or even a center like Namadwaar that Sri Swamiji has established across India, across the world, where satsangs and nama chant can happen? Is it necessary to have such a place? In a previous discussion in Answers and Beyond, we've seen this from a different perspective. I'm going to give you another viewpoint, again based on Sri Swamiji's Upadeshas, his teachings. If you look at the sunlight, is there a particular place where it does not exist? It's there everywhere, isn't it? In the solar system. There's not one place where the light has not reached. even what we see as darkness is the shadow because of the light. We all are aware of it, and we agree to it. We've read it in school and we know about it all too well. Although it is present everywhere, if I take a convex lens, a magnifying glass, and focus the sunlight on a particular place, and if I put some cotton there, it immediately catches fire, isn't it? The same does not happen when the cotton is exposed to the sunlight, which is there everywhere. But under the lens, it's a whole different ball game. Because that light, the potency of that light is increased tremendously, so much so that that cotton just burns. Likewise, although divinity is omnipresent, there's not a single place where it does not exist. It is also true that there are places where it certainly is concentrated. We should look at it as God's compassion, that it has been placed in that concentrated manner in particular places, let's say like holy places, kshetras, temples, places of worship everywhere. Because when we go there with very minimal effort from our side, those vibes cause a very positive change within every one of us. It helps us to lift ourselves up the spiritual ladder, and it is therefore God's compassion. It helps us to make that climb, and then progress becomes easier after that. So it is true. To directly answer the question, it is true. A place where satsang happens, a place where worship happens, a place where nama sankirtan happens, the names of God are chanted always, where such holy deeds are performed, are indeed filled with those positive, strong, divine vibes, and they certainly help us when we visit those places. I will give you another example to better understand this or connect to this. Let's say we go to a place. It's filled with people that are happy for some reason. We go into that place and really not in that happy a mood, but just by being in that surrounding, say in a room filled with people that are happy and cheerful, I feel a sense of happiness myself. I feel that I have lightened up when I come outside from that place. I even wonder what really happened now to make me happy or to lighten my spirit. But it really is the vibe that is there in that place. Everybody is happy. It's contagious. It catches on to me as well. And the same holds good when it comes to a place that's filled with sadness. There's lots of people who are in grief, who are sad for some reason. Let's say that I don't even know that they are sad because of something. And I go into this place and I start feeling heavy after a certain point. For no reason, even though I'm not connected with those people or that sadness that they are experiencing, it catches on to me because those vibes are present there. This is something that we've all experienced. The same holds good when it comes to spiritual vibes as well. That's really what I'm trying to say. An example that Sri Swamiji would often quote to help us understand how the place, the situation helps us. Because when the divine name is chanted in a particular place, when, let's say, for instance, this Mahamantra is chanted in a particular place, that place is transformed. Everything there is transformed, he would say. I wonder if that is the case, how come I don't feel the difference? I really don't. To me, when I say enter a Namadwaar center or the hall, the Bhagavata Bhavanam hall in the ashram where this Nama chant has been happening all the time, when I enter such a place and come out, it feels like I've entered another room, another space. I really don't feel the vibe. If it is true, how come I don't feel it? The answer to this question is very simple. I'll come to it a minute later. I'm reminded of an incident that happened in Sri Swamiji's presence. He was once visiting a town in southern Tamil Nadu, and when he visited that town, lots of friends, lots of devotees wanted Swamiji to come visit their place and bless the place. One particular visit was to this old household. And when Swamiji went there, as he set foot inside the place and walked right in, it's a very modest, normal Indian home. He walked a few steps this way and that way, and he stopped and asked the person that was residing in that house if by any chance they have a white murti, meaning statue, if I may say so, of Sri Krishna in this house. The resident was rather surprised because there really was nothing like that in that house. Sri Swamiji asked several times. So the person, the host, inquired around, and somebody mentioned that the previous resident of the house, nearly 30-40 years ago, used to have a white Krishna, a murti of Krishna, and perform chanting of the Nama, the divine names, regularly sitting in this hall. That was 30-40 years ago. And that person has left the place, and so has the Krishna with that person. Then everybody could understand what Sri Swamiji was asking. None of us could see it, none of us felt the vibe, but he could. The white Krishna he could see. The vibes from the Nama he could feel. The point I'm trying to tell you is that that Nama that has been chanted continuously in that place with that Swami has changed that place, has transformed it. Even though the current resident is unaware of it, he is a beneficiary of all the positive vibes because he's staying there. Every person that goes in and comes out would certainly get a bit of the positive vibes. We may not even be aware of it. So the place does get transformed. No doubt about that. The reason why I don't feel it, I don't see it or perceive it as Swamiji does is because my radar, my spiritual radar, that antenna is really not fine-tuned. There's a lot of clutter. Because of the clutter, it's not sensitive enough to grasp those vibes. That doesn't mean it does not exist. To the one that has that sort of purity, that sort of a sensitive spiritual radar, they're able to sense it, they're able to feel it. So the long story short, yes, positive vibes do exist in places where such Nama happens all the time, where such activities happen all the time, and that is the basis of having an altar at home, a designated place of worship. And that is also the basis why we have Namadwaar centers, where the only thing that Sri Swamiji advocates is continuous chanting of the Mahamantra. It transforms the place, and that transforms everything. Thank you all. Thank you for your patience.